What is the definition of faith? Well, according to Google, faith is a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than
Now,
proof.
what is religion? Well, all religions have their own gods that they follow and worship. For example,
Hindus have books called Vedas, Christians have Bibles, and Islams have their Quran, and so on. Well, everyone has their own beliefs towards this matter, but at the end of the day, all religions believe and have faith in the same thing. They all believe that there is God, one higher power, and display the love of God. Belief and faith are two strong pillars of the human life, and this idea is presented greatly throughout Yann Martel's novel, Life of Pi. Survival in the world rotates around one's belief and how they perceive certain situations. There are two common ways to survive and understand the complexity of life. One way is through the lenses of science, and the other way is through religion. Science suggests that life on Earth is created by different physical phenomena in the nature like the Big Bang Theory, whereas religion suggests that God created the world. The novel Life of Pi, written by Yann Martel, depicts the beautiful relationship between religion and survival. It explains the strong connection between one's faith and how one can use that faith to survive arduous situations. The main character of the novel, Pi, undergoes the severity of life, and the only way he survives the most difficult circumstances in his life, living in a sea for 227 days along with a tiger, is through his strong religious faith. Pi is demonstrated as a logical, curious, open-minded, and a strongly religious human being. He is not a fundamentalist and is unconventional in regards to religion. Pi has faith in three religions: Hinduism, Islamism, and Christianity. His open-mindedness and curious attitude allowed him to believe in all three of these religions equally. He even states, "All religions are true, I just want to love God." During Pi's developmental stages, he was highly influenced by these two dynamic religions. He was first introduced to Hinduism and describes it as the religion of his birth and as being part of himself. He was greatly moved by it. He explained that the smell of incense, colors, play of light of the temple satisfied him spiritually. He had love of Hinduism because of the feeling, the connection between human and divine. In chapter 16 he says, "My heart still skips a beat when I catch a sign of Murti, of God residing in the inner sanctum of the temple. Truly I am in a sacred cosmic womb, a place where everything is born, and it is my sweet luck to behold its living core." This suggests his deep love for Hinduism. At the age of 14, he was introduced to Christianity. Pi's own curiosity, his desire to know and understand more about God, is the mean by which he was so inspired by the religion. He couldn't get Christ out of his head because the more he learned about him, the less he wanted to leave him. Similar ideas about wanting to learn more about God articulated when Pi turned 15. He started to have faith in Islam. Pi even believed that the reason he was introduced to Allah was because God wanted him to. He states, "God works in a mysterious way, and this time he introduced me to Allah." Although Pi didn't understand much of Arabic, he found the music and words to be soothing. He says, "As I put my head down to earth, I found that the ground I touched became holy ground, and found a feeling of serenity and brotherhood." He found himself to be close to God. For him, Hinduism, Christianity were not religions to be left behind when he discovered Islamism, but rather the intrinsic framework of his own spirituality. Practicing three different religions gave Pi the flexibility to choose the good and convenient aspects from each. It allowed him to practice a utopian religion where his curiosity could be satisfied. Pi became very dedicated to each religion. He went to worship at the local mosque, temple, and church. Pi's faith and belief in God inspired him as a child, kept him motivated, and most importantly, helped sustain him while at sea. Pi was able to survive the most unimaginable and scariest shipwreck. He stayed for 227 days on a boat all by himself with a tiger after losing his family. Imagine being in Pi's position. Imagine losing everything, your family, your belongings, and being lost at sea. Your life being at risk primarily every minute of the day, and you don't know where you are or when this will end. The only way Pi survived any of it was because he kept his faith in multiple religions. His love and faith in God kept him going. It kept him strong and didn't let him give up. Pi's belief in God was extremely strong, and this was demonstrated in several different parts of the novel. Pi presumed that he got onto the ship because of the hyena. He states, "If it weren't for this hyena, the sailor would not have thrown me into the sailboat, and I would have stayed on the ship and surely would have drowned." Pi eventually realized that he was not surrounded only by a hyena, but a zebra, orangutan, and a tiger, though later the tiger was the only animal that stayed with Pi. In the beginning, Pi was terrified of Richard Parker, and was even thinking to get rid of him. He tried following plan number 6, which was War of Attriation. Because of Pi's faith in Islamism, he didn't want to kill another soul, so his plan was to let nature take its course and wait for Richard Parker to die with the lack of food and water. Though later, Pi realized that this plan was cruel and instead followed plan number 7, which was to tame the tiger. Pi's spirituality and strong belief in God was visualized from the quote, "Richard Parker may not be tamed, but with God's will he can be trained," which demonstrates how Pi's strong Islamism faith allowed him to learn how to live with a tiger that could have easily eaten him but didn't. Pi took a major tribulation and turned it into a spiritual gift. Richard Parker became integral to Pi's life as integral religion was to him. His faith in Islam prevented him from killing the tiger and allowed him how to learn to live with the tiger. This displayed his teachings from the Quran for love of animals. Richard Parker became Pi's one and only companion. In chapter 57, Martel states Pi's thoughts about Richard Parker as, "It was Richard Parker who calmed me down. It is the irony of the story, that the one who scared me witless to start with was the very same who brought me peace, purpose." Richard Parker, the creature who threatened Pi before, eventually started providing Pi rich companionship. Because of Pi's faith in Islam, Pi made a new friend who gave him serenity and purpose to survive on the boat. The orange boat Pi was on reminded him of the color of survival. He declared, "It seems orange, such a Hindu color, the color of survival." He recognized the color orange as the Hindu god's way of reminding him to survive. Pi's basic needs were limited. He learned how to survive with the insufficient food supply the boat provided, but after a couple of days, that food was over, and Pi had to do whatever he could to help Richard Parker and himself stay alive. And the only way he could survive was if he ate the fish in the sea. Pi grew up as a Hindu, which meant he was a strict vegetarian. He was put into an internal conflict within his survival needs and mortality, though the only way Pi could survive was if he put his morals aside. He declares, "Lord, to think that I'm a strict vegetarian. To think that when I was a child I always shuddered when I snapped open a banana because it sounded to me like the breaking of an animal's neck. I descended to a level of savagery I never imagined possible." He surely was ashamed by this, not only because of Hinduism, but also because of Christianity. He believed he was guilty as a Cain. A Cain in the Bible was the first son of Adam and Eve who killed his brother. Pi compared himself as this because of his strong remorse feeling. In Christianity, Hinduism, and Islamism, killing another soul is a sin, and Pi was extremely ashamed. But at the same time, even though this was a sin, in his perception, he believed that this was an act of God. He says, "Thank you, Lord Vishnu. Thank you. Once you saved the world by taking the form of a fish. Now you have saved me from taking a form of the fish." Pi said this as he believed that the god Vishnu was protecting him. In one of the Hindu Vedas, it had been stated that one of the forms Vishnu takes is half man, half fish. So Pi viewed the fish as a gift from Vishnu. Along with his faith in Hinduism and Islamism, Pi also used aspects of Christianity to bring himself peace and hope. He created a routine praying every morning, mid-morning, sunset, and night. He says, "I kept myself busy. That was the key to my survival. Sunrise, wake up, prayers. Mid-morning, prayers." With his trust in Christianity, he found comfort and gained hope that his prayers were being heard and would be answered. He also found comfort because he knew that Jesus had to fight to survive, and he believed that he was experiencing the same thing. Pi's religious beliefs kept him hopeful through the adversity and challenges he faced. With the belief and faith in God, he was able to bring out the good from the worst situation. He made a tiger his friend, learned how to survive with the food he had been provided, and also brought himself peace just by his faith in God. Not one specific God, but God from all 3 different religions. His positive outlook helped him take shelter under God's roof. His faith was the only reason he survived. After doing my research about this book, it really made me wonder why us, as humans, aren't as open-minded as Pi is. Why do we choose one God and one religion when there's so many different religions that all believe in the same thing, that all believe that there is God and display the love of it? Because if we did, perhaps our lives would be way different and we would be able to survive and overcome unimaginable challenges like Pi. We would look at the world from a different point of view. Personally, this novel made me realize that with faith, one can achieve anything they want. They just need the patience, strong belief, and never doubt God.